Welcome to the Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. Your host, Adam and Shawn, will talk about their lives and living in recovery.
Hello and welcome to Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Shawn.
Very lovely, dear.
Thank you.
Shawn has taken up playing the tin whistle.
Yeah.
It's a pretty little instrument.
Well, it's funny about the tin whistle. They come in different keys. So this one is in the key of D. Yeah, a tin whistle is like an Irish whistle. You hear them a lot in like Celtic music and things.
Yeah, it's very pretty. It's a very pretty little whistle.
They're very simple. I mean, they're like $10 for one.
Yeah.
And I have them in 3 different keys, and I just sit around and play them once in a while.
It's awesome. Is it similar to playing the recorder?
No, the recorder's harder.
Is it?
Yeah, the tin whistle is a lot easier, I think. I don't really know how to play the recorder, but I haven't sat down with that very much, so I don't know. But they're similar. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just different.
Well, how was your week this week?
Well, the week is just beginning. Today's Monday, but the weekend and last week, yeah, it was good. We had a storm the end of last week.
We did.
We got dumped on. I think we got
did.
about 12 inches out there. And then we got that all cleaned up. And then we got a little bit more snow on Sunday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then we got that cleaned up, and now it's snowing again.
We got some good news last week, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Do you want to share that?
I'll let you. Go ahead.
Well, we applied for a recovery coach.
The peer recovery coach training.
Here, our local, I'm not sure what's it called.
Through NEMSAS.
NEMSAS, that's it. And they called and said that we were both accepted, which was kind of amazing.
It is kind of amazing.
We still have one more step before we're totally accepted, but they do, a background check and they do a bunch of different things. I don't know. And we got through all those hoops anyways. And they called and said, yes, we want to have both of you, in our class. And it starts in June.
And we're super excited.
Yeah. And
they're gonna call in May, I think, and do one last phone interview to make sure we still want to do it.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go in, the classes start in June.
In June,
And it's all Zoom.
Well, for right now it is. It's all remote from home because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they'll do that in the future, but yeah, if right now we have the opportunity to sit in our pajamas and take the class, so that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And when we're done, we'll be certified as a peer recovery coach, and we can actually take that and go to work somewhere. Mm-hmm. I know people, we just had Jessica Brown on the show, and she's a peer recovery coach.
Yep.
Zach Williams, he's a peer recovery coach, and they're both working good jobs and doing well.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
So that's awesome. I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, so once we get through the class and I don't know if you get like a certificate or probably not a license, probably a certificate.
You get certified, I believe.
Yeah, then we could, potentially get a job in the area, helping other people, and that would be great.
That would be awesome.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. That'll be fun. We'll keep you guys posted on how that goes in June when we start the classes. It's probably really hard stuff.
Yeah, I'm dealing with some back pain.
Yeah, you sure are.
And I've been kind of going through it. And one thing that keeps coming to mind is when I was in active addiction and my back would flare up and I'd be in back pain, I would run and go get a bottle to help. I'd use it as a painkiller, and today in recovery, I don't do that.
Yeah.
And
did that help?
I don't know. It got me drunk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It must have helped to some degree.
I guess.
But it could have been your excuse too.
Always an excuse. I had an excuse for everything. There was always a reason to drink. But in my mind, when I was like, oh, my back's out, I got to go to the liquor store. Not that I wasn't headed there already anyway.
Yeah, it just made it a more urgent need. Instead of starting at noon, you started at 10, right?
Yeah.
A.M.
Yeah, there were times I was at the liquor store before they opened.
Knocking on the door.
Waiting
Hey,
for
let me
'em.
in. Yeah.
Waiting for them. And I was a regular, so they knew me. So, oh, hey, Adam.
Yeah.
They'd answer the door. And,
Didn't you know the grocery store was open 24 hours?
not in Alpena.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can't-
That's a small town, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it was a small town.
Mm-hmm.
And when you don't have a vehicle and you have to walk, and it's cold.
Oh, yeah. It
Go to
stinks.
yeah. So that's how that
But,
worked out.
yeah.
But I don't have to live that way anymore. That's for sure.
Nope. It gets cold and it snows, and we just sit here in the house for 3 days in our pajamas, and we don't have to worry about going out for anything or doing anything or,
And pretty soon
great.
we'll be taking Zoom classes, and I'm really excited about that.
Yep.
I'm really excited about that.
Well, congratulations.
Well, congratulations to
I'll see you in the classroom.
you. That's right.
So what else is going on? Your back's hurting you.
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Back's hurting me.
It's gotten worse over the last couple of days, but you've seen the doctor, and he said that.
He wants to put me on this medication called Lyrica, and I know it's a scheduled drug, and I don't know anything about it. And so I think I need to educate myself. You looked some stuff up and was talking to me about it, but I'm just apprehensive to take something that I'm not sure about or not know how it's going to affect me. I've taken so much medication over the years, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, well, in order to feel better, sometimes you have to try different, avenues. And if what you're doing now isn't giving you relief, you might want to give it a try. I think that I don't know a whole lot about Lyrica. I think it's a newer drug out on the market. But, usually the newer ones, that's sometimes better than the older ones. It's like the newest on the market, the best.
That's a big part of me staying sober is addressing my health concerns. It's part of that self-care that's so important. And there was a time in my life where I had no self-care, and and it led me down to a bottomless pit, slowly and slowly and slowly. The farther down that pit you go, the less and less you start taking care of yourself. You stop. And pretty soon you end up like me, eating corn out of a strainer.
Because your stomach's too upset to eat anything else. So you're
Correct.
eating cold corn out of a strainer that
Right.
you rinsed off and were eating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was for some reason.
I don't know why corn, though. That's really harsh on your body.
I don't know why either.
That's kind of
But
weird.
that's what I had, and that's where it was working, and so that's what I used. That's how far down the scale I had gone as far as not taking care of myself and never seeing a doctor. And bipolar meds, they sat in the bathroom on the counter, and I didn't take them because I told myself I didn't need them.
Yeah.
So I would quit taking them, and then over time, the drinking would increase, the self-medication would increase, and then I would start having interpersonal relationship problems, people in my life I'd fall out with. And I was always justified, it seemed like. Even when I wasn't. In my mind, I justified it every time I had an argument with somebody or somebody.
Yeah, it was their fault. And,
Always. It was always justified to me. I justified it to me in one manner or another. So I would go down that scale and I would start having those interpersonal relationship problems, and then I would start having legal troubles, and then pretty soon I'm in jail, and I'm looking around jail, scratching my head going, well, how did I get here? Because
Yeah.
I didn't understand what it took to get me there.
And you didn't have anybody to call to get you out either because you'd pissed everybody off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I kept bumping my head on that same problem over and over and over and over again, but true recovery for me begins with self-care. Because if I don't take care of myself, then, I know where it can lead to,
Yeah.
I know where it can lead to. And
It feels good to take care of yourself. So it feels good to be on top of your, your doctor visits and your dental visits and your medications, and
It does.
you're eating healthy and you're, bathing regularly and, those things. That feels good to do those things.
It does. It does. And for a long time, I didn't. When I talk about, I lived in Alpena, and I was the bum, and that's kind of true. You know what I mean? That's kind of true. And I'm just so grateful. Here we are, 2.5 years sober, and we just don't live that way anymore.
Yep. Well, what else is going on? Anything else in your life that you want to talk about? You're supposed to have friends come for the weekend, but that kind of fell through. And
I heard from my son this week.
That's always good.
Yeah, and he lives in Colorado.
He wants to be on the podcast at some point, I think.
He does. And so we just want to give you a shout out, Stephen, if you're listening. And that was really nice talking to him. And him and I have been estranged for a long time in our life, on and off through adulthood. But he's, he's a really smart kid, and unfortunately he's in the correction system out there in Colorado, and he's doing a substantial amount of time.
Yeah.
But that's okay. We're going to get him through it. And he's smart. He's very smart. And if he just uses his intelligence, he's going to come out on top. I know he will.
Yeah, so I've been reading lately some books, and Chicken Soup for the Soul has always been one of my favorites. And I read a new article in there that a story, actually, that it's called You're Still You. And so you had asked me earlier this week what it was like being a housewife and a mother, to 5 children, and then and later in my life, after my children were all grown, and I had gastric bypasses, when I actually developed a pretty substantial drinking problem, and it was due basically to the gastric bypass, and then the events in my life that followed after just poured heavy fuel on the fire. So what was life like before and life like after? Well, this brought up this topic. You're still you. You're still the same person. You're still you, whether you're drinking and you're in active addiction and you're an alcoholic and you feel like you're ashamed of yourself, and you're still you underneath all of that. You still have your personality and your love and you were raised with values and things. Those are all still embedded in you, and they're still there after you're done drinking. When you decide that you no longer want alcohol in your life, all those things are still there. So you're still you. It's not really like a change, And so then that led me to this story. So I wanted to read the story. It's not a very long one, but I'll read to you at the end. I'll tell you who wrote it, and it's kind of interesting. So it says, it's called You're Still You, and it's in the Chicken Soup for the Couple's Soul. And it's all about love and relationships and things. 5 days after the accident on Memorial Day weekend, 1995, I became fully conscious and able to make sense. Dr. Scott Henson and Dr. John Jane, chief of neurosurgery at the University of Virginia Hospital, explained my situation. They told me in detail about the extent of my injury and said that after the pneumonia cleared from my lungs, they would operate to reconnect my skull to the top of my spine. They didn't know if the operation would be successful or even if I could survive it. They had a plan, but it was extremely risky and they needed my consent. Dana had insisted, over the objections of some of the family, that the doctors discuss everything with me and that nothing be done without my permission. I answered somewhat vaguely, okay, whatever you have to do. Ever since childhood, I've been used to solving my problems. Whatever scrap I could get myself into, I was always sure of a way out. So at first, I thought this was just another temporary problem. I needed surgery, but I'd be up and around before long. It was only after the doctor left that I began to absorb what they had told me. This was a paralyzing injury. Dana came into the room. We made eye contact. I mouthed the words lucid to her. Maybe we should let me go. She said, I'm only going to say this once. I will support whatever you want to do because this is your life and your decision. But I want you to know that I'll be with you for the long haul, no matter what. Then she added the words that saved my life. You're still you.
Wow.
And I love you. If she looked away or paused or hesitated even slightly, or if I even felt that there was a sense of her being noble or fulfilling some obligation to me, I don't know if I would have pulled through, because it had dawned on me that I had ruined my life and everybody else's. But what Dana said made living seem possible because I felt the depth of her love and her commitment. I was even able to make a little joke. I mouthed, this is way beyond the marriage vows in sickness and in health. And she said, I know. I knew then that she was going to be with me forever. And it's signed Christopher Reeve, Superman.
Wow.
Yeah. Deep.
Oh, that is pretty heavy.
I get chills. Like I have chills right now and just,
yeah, he went
you're
through
still
that.
you. Yeah.
Still
yeah.
you.
No matter what happens, you're still you. You're still you.
Yeah, he was an amazing actor too. I loved him in Superman.
Yeah, he was great.
That was pretty heavy. Yeah, you're still you. No matter what happens, you're still you. You know, recovery changes us along the way, and we become new people. But at the core of it, you're still you.
Yeah. And if you take off all those layers, it's like an onion and you peel the layers away, and the outer layers are all the troubles and the hardships and, the things going on in your life. But when you get to the core, that's you.
That's you. And it's still you. Regardless of how mangled alcohol has made me, I know that at the core, I'm still me.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That was good. I like that.
Yeah. So anyways, is there anything else we have to talk about this week?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. We're going to have some podcasts coming up with some good stuff. We're going to be talking about Suboxone on maybe the next podcast.
Yeah, we're going to be doing an interview. And I find medically assisted recovery fascinating.
Yeah.
And I'd like to learn more about it. And I'm sure other people do too.
Yeah. I'm interested in it too. I've been doing a little bit of research on it because I know it's coming up. And it's a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah. So, we've got a lot of new stuff in the works. So, we just want to thank you for listening to tonight's podcast, Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. My name is Adam.
And I'm Shawn.
Thanks for listening to the Stone Soup Recovery Podcast. Feel free to contact us on social media. We'd love to hear from you. You can also find more episodes and contact info at stonesouprecovery.com.